Good morning, everybody. This is Van Hargis of Van Hargis Horsemanship. Appreciate you guys joining me today on the ranch road. Let's get this truck cranked up here and we'll head over to the ranch. I got tickled yesterday because one of our listeners, followers, whatever you call it, here on Facebook said she could hear that air conditioner blaring. I couldn't help but to laugh at that because I'm thinking, well, yeah, I mean, down here in South Texas, it's hot and humid. So every chance you get into a vehicle or get into a house, well, the AC gets cranked up pretty good. And it's about the only time I really get spoiled is in that darn truck where I can crank that AC up. So if you guys happen to hear that thing a-blowing, well, there's good reason for it. It's a little bit warm sometimes, even in the mornings. Today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about rhythm with your horses. You know, that rhythm, forward motion, you guys will hear me refer to forward motion a lot. I mean, I'm a big believer that without forward motion, you really don't have anything with your horses. I don't care if it's a halter horse or if it's the horse in the backyard, or if it's a horse that's pulling a cart, performance horse, whatever that sucker is, you've got to have forward motion. If you've ever been to one of my clinics, that's one thing I emphasize over and over and over again, especially to those people that fuss because their horses don't have good stops. The first thing I'll tell them is quit worrying about a stop, work on the forward motion. Get that forward motion. But in the forward motion, there's part of that that's just as critical, and that's establishing a rhythm. Rhythm. You've got to have a really good rhythm. I want to emphasize to people too that I refer to rhythm in the saddle like dancing, or actually rhythm on the ground. That's where it's really started, right there in the round pen. When you very first start working with a horse, I don't care if you're halter training or preparing that horse to be saddled for the first time, establish a rhythm. And here's how you can determine whether or not you've got that rhythm with your horse. Ask your horse to move, and then ask yourself, why is that horse moving? And if you're one of those people that want to stand in the middle with a big old lunge whip and not move at all and just have this horse go around you and around, you're missing out. And I promise you, you'll have more trouble with stops, and you'll have more trouble with that horse establishing a rhythm than anybody that's willing to move their freaking feet. You gotta move, you gotta have a rhythm, okay? And what that means is that a walk, you want to walk in a very slow but yet rhythmic move, and you need to hold your horse accountable to whatever rhythm that you establish. When you decide you want your horse to move up into a trot, don't just snap a lead rope at him or toss a lariat rope at him or crack him on the butt with a whip. Don't do that first. What I'm asking you to do is increase your rhythm. Increase that. Let that horse feel and sense of rhythm in you. When that horse feels that sense of rhythm change, all you have to do then is hold the horse accountable to that change. Therefore, when you increase your rhythm and your horse doesn't increase, you begin to gradually increase your pressure on that horse until that horse eventually breaks into that rhythm that you've established. And then ask yourself the question, why is that horse trotting? In this case, why is the horse trotting? He should be trotting because you are trotting. Not literally, you're not necessarily trotting around the round pen, but you've established a more rhythmic move and more rhythm to your pace. As a result, the horse needs to keep up with your rhythm. Well, what about Mr. Van if the horse goes too fast? I don't care if he goes too fast or not. I've never fired anybody for working too hard. Have you? Have you ever just gone, you know what, Jimbo, you're just working too hard. We're just going to have to get rid of you. In other words, we don't punish those who work too hard. We oftentimes correct those who are working inefficiently. But yet, when I look at this horse, if I've established a rhythm of, say, a trot, and this horse picks up either an extended trot or a canter, is working around that round pen, I really don't worry about that. I maintain my rhythm. Eventually, this horse will begin to ask himself, why am I working so hard? And they'll slow down to your rhythm. If they go too slow, you put a little pressure on them. If they go too fast, you let them teach themselves. Over time, they will learn to trust you because your idea was to trot nice and easy. Their idea was to trot too fast or to lope. Who made the better decision on their behalf? You did. If you do that over and over and over again, that horse will learn to trust that you make better decisions on their behalf than they do. you become trustworthy. You become a good leader. And really all you did was just establish a good, followable, is that a word? A following leader. You see, in other words, you created that rhythm and you allowed that horse to follow that rhythm. My point is this. Rhythm is so incredibly important. Without rhythm, we are nowhere with our horses, really. If you don't have that rhythm, if you don't establish that rhythm, if you don't hold the horse accountable to that rhythm, you'll struggle with almost every aspect. You'll struggle with transitions, upward or downward. You'll struggle with your horse stopping. You'll even struggle with your horse staying within that rhythm at whatever gait that you choose. For example, a while back, we had a student, and this student had been taking riding lessons for a long time. Excuse me for a minute. I'm here at the ranch already, but I'm going to just kind of finish this point. We had a student, though, that she had been taking riding lessons for quite some time before she ever came to me. And the young girl set the saddle beautifully. I mean, she just had perfect posture. She just looked good in the saddle. She had great balance. She had really good hands, too, for that matter. But it was crazy. Every horse we put her on would break gait with her. I mean, we'd put her on one of my best horses and just said, well, this is going to turn this loper around. And she'd be loping. A little while later, she'd be struggling to keep her loping. If I had said, well, just bring her back to a trot her for a while for me and to see how she does at a trot. Wouldn't be long, she'd be struggling to keep her at a trot. And when I mean struggling to keep her at a trot, like kicking on her, banging on her, doing whatever to keep that mare trotting. And I couldn't figure it out. I mean, I'd get on the horse and she'd do great. I'd put my assistant on the horse. She'd do great. But we'd put that student back on the horse, and inevitably, the mare would slow down and continually try to break gait. And I got to where I was studying her, and I was watching video of her, and it finally hit me. Oh my goodness, she's got the dead butt syndrome. And what I mean by that is that even though she set the saddle really well, there was no rhythm about her. She was sitting in the saddle as pretty as a picture, but with a dead butt. She was sitting up there just like a big old sack of potatoes, which is great if you're asking the horse to transition downward or stop. But you see, rhythm gets rhythm. It's almost like dancing. In fact, that's what we're doing with our horses. We're dancing. We've created a dance of our stock horses especially, with choices of about 3 gaits, right? So we've got a dance with 3 rhythms. Oh, let's go dance at a walk, 4-beat. Let's go dance at a trot, a 2-beat. Let's go dance at a canter, a 3-beat. So whenever we establish that dance, we as the dance leader needs to be thinking to ourselves, what dance do we want to dance? We want to dance to the canter. So we establish that rhythm already at a canter, and like a good dance leader would do, we guide that horse up to that. When the horse reaches our rhythm, we mesh. Everything comes together. It feels really good. If one or the other is off rhythm, there's going to cause a little bit of issue there and a little bit of conflict there. Therefore, it's our goal to get back on rhythm. That's very, very important. But the other thing to keep important is, who is the leader? You see, because if you are the rider, you are the dance leader, then it's your responsibility to pick a gait. It's your responsibility to pick a rhythm. And then it's your responsibility to hold your dance partner, your horse, accountable to that rhythm. If he's going a little bit too fast, offer him just a little bit of resistance and encourage him to come back to you. Check your rhythm. If your horse is going a little bit too fast, don't catch up to him. Bring him back to you, you see. If your horse is going a little bit too slow, encourage that rhythm. Do an inventory of yourself and make sure you've got that good, steady rhythm at whatever gait that you've chosen. You establish the rhythm, and you hold your horse accountable to that rhythm. Well, like I said, I'm here at the ranch. I'm sure my girls are out there waiting for me to get busy and get after it. Again, I really appreciate you guys joining me on the ranch road and giving me an opportunity to do what I love, which is to help people with their horses and their horsemanship and humanship. So thanks again for following me on the ranch road. And I hope you enjoy dancing with your horses. Until next time, this is Van Hargis with Van Hargis Horsemanship.